Welcome to X Gaming World, and today we are counting down the top 10 games of 2020. We will look at some of the best games with mesmerizing graphics and a great storyline. Cyberpunk 2077. Probably the most controversial game of 2020 with a lot of bugs and fixes later on for the same. It is an open world action-adventure RPG set in the metropolis of the Night City, where you play as a cyberpunk mercenary wrapped up in a do-or-die fight for survival. Improved and featuring all new free additional content, customize your character and playstyle as you take on jobs, build a reputation and unlock upgrades. The relationship you forge and the choices you will make will shape the story and the world around you. Up next, Resident Evil 3, one of the most nostalgic games which was remastered and gave us an opportunity to play it in better graphics. Jill Valentine is one of the last remaining people in Raccoon City to witness the atrocities Umbrella performed. To stop her, Umbrella unleashes the ultimate secret weapon, Nemesis. It is a 2020 survival horror game developed and published by Capcom. It is a remake of the 1999 game Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. Up next, Watch Dogs Legion. It is a 2020 action-adventure game developed by Ubisoft Toronto. It is the third installment of the Watch Dogs series and the sequel to the 2016's Watch Dogs 2. Set with a fictionalized representation of a futuristic dystopian London, the game's story follows the hacker syndicate DedSec as they seek to clear the names after being framed for a series of terrorist bombings. DedSec attempt to liberate London citizens from the control of Albion, an oppressive private military company which turned the city into a surveillance state following the bombings. Next up, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales.
And the other Spider-Man's gone. I just keep making things worse and worse.
It is an action-adventure game developed by Insomnia Games and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment. Based on the Marvel Comics character Miles Morales, it is inspired by both characters' decade-long comic book mythology and the 2018 animated film Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which helped popularize him. This game is a spin-off and the successor to Marvel's Spider-Man 2018 and the second installment in the Insomniac Spider-Man series. The narrative focuses on Miles' struggle to balance the duties of his civilian persona and his role as the second Spider-Man when his new home. Harlem is threatened by a war between the Roxxon Energy Corporation and a high-tech criminal army called the Underground.
Spider-Man, your way.
Next up, The Last of Us Part 2. The plot has been set 5 years after The Last of Us. The game focuses on two playable characters in a post-apocalyptic United States whose lives intertwine. Ellie, who sets out in revenge for a murder, and Abby, a soldier who becomes involved in a conflict between her militia and a religious cult. The game uses third-person perspective. The player must fight human enemies and cannibalistic zombie-like creatures with firearms, improvised weapons, and stealth. Up next, Half-Life Alyx.
I'm gonna head inside, find a way out.
It is a virtual reality game that supports all Steam VR compatibility. Player controls the Resistance member Alyx Vance as she and her father Ellie Vance fight the combined and alien empire that has conquered Earth. The designer David Spearer said Alyx was not just an episodic game or side story, but the next part of Half-Life's story around the same length as Half-Life 2. Players use the VR to get supplies, use interfaces, throw objects and engage in combat. Like the gravity gun from Half-Life 2, the gravity gloves allow players to pick up objects from a distance. It's one of the best games with the best graphics there to offer, even if it's from 2020.
You will not save him. Alyx Vance alone cannot prevent his fate. Close your eyes, honey!
Next up, Ghost of Tsushima.
you stray from this.
It is an action-adventure video game played from a third-person perspective. The player has a variety of gameplay options to reach objectives they are given. They can engage in a direct confrontation with the enemies using their katana, caught as a standoff, which can result in a series of fatal strikes against a number of different enemies. In combat, Jin adopts different combat stances when facing different types of enemies. Stone stance for a hostile swordsman, water stance for shielded enemies, wind stance for spearmen, and moon stance for brutes. With best graphics there to offer, it is one of the most mesmerizing games you'll ever play. Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It is an action role-playing game structured around several main story arcs and numerous optional side missions called world events. The player takes on a role of Eivor, a Viking raider, as they lead their fellow Vikings against the Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. The player has a choice of playing Eivor as either female or male, letting the game alternate between the two at key moments in the story. Next up, Call of Duty. It was released across PlayStation 4, Xbox One and Microsoft Windows. At launch, the game features two main modes, Battle Royale and Plunder. Warzone introduces a new in-game currency system that can be used at buy stations in and around the map. Loadout drops are an example of where the cash can be traded for limited access to players' custom classes. Players may also use this cash to purchase items such as kill streaks and gun masks. Cash can be found by looting buildings and killing players they have cash on them. At launch, Warzone only offered trios, a squad capacity of 3 players. However, in free post-launch content updates, solos, duos and quads have all been added into the game. Final Fantasy VII. It is a remake in a planned series of games remaking the '97 PlayStation game Final Fantasy VII. It covers the first section of the original game set in Metropolis Midgar. Players control Cloud Strife, a formation-led soldier turned mercenary who joins the eco-terrorist group Avalanche to fight the Shinra Corporation, who have been draining the planet's life energy. Every element has been remade using the real-time graphics as opposed to the pre-rendered environments of the original. The story includes major expansions to character development and some notable plot additions as well.
She's the last living ancient on the planet. Think about what that means to Shinra's scientists.
This is
the source of everything.